Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you. This time talking episode 14 of season 6 of Arrow, Collision Course. And here things really do go from bad to worse this episode. This is really one of those episodes where the bad guys really do win big time. So let's get into it. So our main thing here is this just continued downward spiral of the relationship between Team Arrow, Felicity, Oliver, and Dig, and I'm going to call them the Outsiders. And what I do like is they do take the time to point out that both sides in this situation have a point. The Team Arrow is right that, like, hey, we've got to get this money back or the city is going to go even further into a downward spiral. I mean, like, cops and 911 operators and hospitals getting shut down, that's bad. That's really damn bad. The Outsiders, however, are kind of right that it's like, okay, you can't just really cut a deal with this murderer and let her walk away. But I mean, there's just so much that's really weird and messed up about this situation. One, he continues to act like Vigilante was such a great guy, except for the fact that he even killed a bunch of innocent people last season, and described that as these people being nothing more than, and I quote, collateral damage. And he never really seemed particularly sorry about it either. So I guess nobody cares about them. And there is just the whole situation of like, well, okay, Dinah, well, if you kill Black Siren, then what? Like, what happens to like the money that the city needs to survive? I mean, the only really redeeming thing of this situation is that at the very end, Curtis seems to realize that, okay, this has gotten completely out of control, and we're guilty of a bunch of the same stuff that we've been complaining about in terms with Oliver, accusing Oliver of. But they also do make it a point. It's like, yeah, that there's no chance in hell that fences are getting mended. But again, this is just such a messed up situation. I mean, a part of it is that they're upset that Renee got hurt, which is all well and good, except that he got a bunch of those injuries fighting Oliver, I believe, with an axe. I mean, seriously, it really did look like legit Renee was trying to kill Oliver. And then the whole situation with Renee calling Oliver a thug. I mean, it's like, wow, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, Oliver even remarks, it's like, hey, look, I know maybe I'm not the person to be lecturing other people about committing murder, but seriously, I've murdered like a whole bunch of people. It's not that great. I just keep thinking about that. Somebody like counted it all up from season 1 and 2, and they figured that Oliver in that time killed like 50 people during the course of that season, those 2 seasons. So if you look back at all the other people he's killed in the various flashbacks and even in present day, like, the original count and Ra's al Ghul, pretty safe to say Oliver has like a 3-digit body count. So he knows of what he speaks. But yeah, I mean, man, what a crazy situation. I mean, Curtis hacking Dig's arm, Felicity getting hurt. I mean, it's just wow. And never mind, stuff like Team Arrow barging into the Outsiders' bunker to sort of accuse them with no real evidence because, that's such a fantastic idea. And it's just like, well, okay, what if Siren wasn't there? Then what? Yeah. I mean, never mind the fact that we've got Quentin, who just, despite all this contrary evidence, just will not give up on the idea that Black Siren can be redeemed. And to be fair, she has shown some signs that there might be a little bit of good left in her. But here we see that nope, this has probably all just been a big pipe dream, and that people have been kidding themselves. And I don't think there's a whole. I think it's going to be very difficult for her to come back from this. And frankly, I kind of like the idea that you know, while that she's just going to continually have that sort of little edge over them that they just can't quite bring themselves to bring their full force against her, just because, you know, for Dig and Oliver and Felicity and for Quentin, of course, they just can't help but see so much of the original Laurel in them. And I think it really, now of course, Dinah and Curtis and Renee have no real particularly strong connection to her, so. But I like that Siren kind of does this interesting twist here where she's basically decides she's going to try and pretend to be Earth 1 Laurel. Now, how Earth 1 Laurel died when she was stabbed in that prison by Damien Dark. Presumably there was an autopsy involved, so how in the world this is going to work is beyond me, but maybe it's just one of those things we shouldn't think about too much. And, yeah, I think that really does kind of cover most of what I had to say about this episode. Oh yeah, interesting, of course, that Oliver's the police captain we already knew was crooked, and that now it turns out this DA guy, who I think Oliver seems to be on good terms with, now are looking to reopen the FBI investigation into Oliver, which, oh man, even more bad news. But what really gets me here is that nobody even brings up the fact that this sort of thing is exactly what the bad guys probably want. I mean, they have no idea that it's Diaz that's really the one that's been playing them. But I imagine that's probably not going to last too much longer. So yeah, guys, that covers everything I needed to say about this episode, so I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, subscribe, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and follow me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Until next time, take care and have a good one.